Welcome back to an update video again. As always, I'm using the Fractal method, explanation video, the rules and how it works. I will link at the end of the video. Okay, then let's jump into AMC. So, as always, the big update video with my price targets, no financial advice. If it's a one part or a two part squeeze and how the whole fractal looks like, I will link the big roadmap video at the end of the video. Because I already uploaded the super duper bullish version on the homepage and teased everybody, we will talk about this first. So let's zoom in. So as explanation, first of all, it's not really going with my method, kinda, yeah, but most of this thing is it looks like tracking. As I always saying, it looks like tracking using bars pattern. Yeah, there are times for something like that, but as you maybe already saw by many other people's, if you use this as main tracking, 90% of these people are wrong. And when it's not working then one-to-one, what are they saying? Yeah, they slowed it, they made it quicker, they inversed it, manipulation. No, it's just you don't use it looks like tracking for 100%. It's a mistake. So for this case here, both charts, of course, AMC, both charts 1 hour. Both charts are without after hours on. The left chart is January 5th, 2021, till the first part of the squeeze, end of January. Right side, March 2026, till today, of course. So, and now we start. First of all, this red line here is the 4 hour EMA with 618, candles. Yeah? In 2021, we went up to this 4 hour EMA. We stopped at it, to this formation we come in a second. And on the next day, gap to our first part of the squeeze. This first day, we ran up to the 4 hour EMA. We leaned a little bit over it, but we closed under it. Could be coincidence. Second coincidence. If you look here, this was the Friday. This is here already the Tuesday. Yeah? This whole thing running to the 4 hour EMA was a short week. The same thing this week, except that it wasn't Monday, it was a Friday close. Could be coincidence. Third coincidence. If we just look at this formation here before we gapped, for that we go on the 30-minute on the right side and zoom in. What do you realize or recognize? Kinda the same thing. We came up, fell lower. We came up, fell lower. We went up again, made a higher high, a peak. We came up again, made a higher high, a peak, fall down again and formed a lower high. Fall down then, formed a lower high. Yeah. Third coincidence. Could be just coincidence. Who knows? Yeah. Fourth coincidence. Just one thing. Careful. The picture will be white in a second. This is our dilution chart. Yeah. From August 2020 till November 2021. Do you see this here? So here we made a 200 million dilution announcement in December. After that, we made a lower low, the all-time low of 2021. Same thing we did these days. We announced a 150 million dilution. We made our all-time low. We ran up again to kinda the place where we are right now. And here was the announcement that the 150 million dilution was completed. I think a week ago or something like that. The same like here. The 200 million dilution completed. Next little coincidence, maybe. Fifth coincidence, we announced here another new 50 million dilution. Then we gapped, and the dilution was completed after the first part of the squeeze. The thing with this 50 million dilution, I don't know if you know it, but AMC sold DEP. If AMC is going over $5.66, I think the buyers of this DEP can convert this DEP into shares. That's, in the most simple explanation, dilution. So if we just gap here, and if you want to know the price targets, we have high price targets, just watch the roadmap video. But if we just gap there, I think that the news is already written for it. I mean, if we repeating this shit here, yeah, first of all, of course, retail squeeze the short sellers. We will read that 100% again. But second, will be the news because of this DEP and this converting of shares. Because when they will convert this DEP into shares, this DEP is gone for AMC. Not everything, but I think a pretty big chunk. AMC has less DEP. Boom. News. And one last thing. So this would be coincidence number 6. Is you see here, we are sitting right now at $2.80. $2.80. Back here, we were sitting at $27, $28. But we had a reverse split, 1 to 10. If you delete this reverse split, you are sitting here also at $2.08 or $2.70. Same fucking thing like here. So we have 6 coincidences. Of course, it could really just be coincidence. Yeah, just a lot of them at the same place, but maybe, yeah, it's tinfoil. So if this is true, there is nothing left. If this is true, we're doing the gap on Monday. End of story. Everyone is happy. Yeah. If we then have to do, if we're doing a 1-part squeeze or a 2-part squeeze, we have to see. I still think it will be a 2-part. Yeah. And all this will be end of year and this will be next year. But I'm also okay with a 1-part squeeze where we just go to all the math, whatever. So that was the positive things. Now, just for the alternative, what and for the micro tracking, just to say that, maybe coincidence number 7. Yeah. If we just track this 1-to-1, yeah, we have our V, we have our V, we have our A MIF pullback, we have our A MIF pullback, we have our B, we have our B MIF pullback. This little shitty thing here would be this little shitty thing here. And of course, this formation would be this formation. Also, coincidence number 7, it works. So, what if we're not gapping on Monday? Or let's say at least on Wednesday, like here. Yeah. So if we're not gapping next week. Yeah. The problem I still have, and we are not showing it today, but the problem I still have is GME. Yeah, because AMC alone looks fucking perfect. I'm for this. It doesn't matter if we're going with the bullish or the bearish variant. AMC looks perfect. Yeah? So my only problem is still GME, because GME didn't move last week, and for me personally, GME is not ready. It just isn't. Yeah? On the other hand, COS also has finished its higher low. Looks also perfect. So the only shit thing is GME, which is not doing anything. But I say it again, I hate the fractal of GME. Yeah. Maybe I'm just wrong on GME. Really, maybe I'm just fucking wrong. I would like to be wrong. Just the one alternative, because I find it fucking stupid. If anyone thinks, hey, that looks so good. No, I have no landmarks anymore. There is no alternative. 100% confidence. In my opinion, not working. There is always an alternative. Always. So, the alternative, I have two of them. First would be we are too quick. Yeah. What I mean with we are too quick. You see back then how small this little A pullback is and how big this A pullback is. I mean, even if I go at the 1 hour, yeah, both are 1 hour, this was, of course, way quicker back then. Yeah. In that case, it's absolutely possible that this here is not this here. That this here is just this little thing here, and I zoom in. Yeah. That we still are here. Even with that, we would still get this gap or at least a volatile run and do this the whole next week. I mean, in that case, at least GME would have time to just fucking run, because GME still has to do its A and pullback. Yeah? So we could still be here. Or if we already did this, we could still be in this. And we still need to do this. Could still be. Maybe even if we're really doing it one-to-one, I would say we're doing this Monday, Tuesday. And we're getting the gap on Wednesday, maybe. Yeah. Just because we are way bigger here. We can delay this easily. Yeah. Of course, the 4-hour EMA doesn't mean shit then anymore. But again, the EMAs are lagging indicators. EMAs are not fractal. So only because they are in the same place doesn't mean we have to repeat it one-to-one. Just saying. One last thing for the alternative, for our bearish alternative. What alternative I mean? Our main bearish alternative is here that we won't go over this trend line. That's the worst case, in my opinion, which can happen. Not that we're just doing this little pullback and it still takes a few weeks. No, the worst possible way is we reject here and doing a new all-time low. That's, in my opinion, the worst case. Yeah, not just it takes some time. No, the worst is this. And for this, I think we're getting the same news. Because my level for rejection was always between $6 and $8. Because that the step conversion is sitting at 566. I would say you're coming up here. You may be doing this little B pullback, as you should. Yeah, you would still go up, even for the bearish version. And you could easily break this a little bit. So let's say, again, $6 to $8, $9. And then the news will be because of AMC, depth conversion, and dilution. And we knife. Or not knife, but we would go the rest of the year down. That would be the explanation for this move. Yeah. Fundamentally, it makes no sense to make that absolutely fucking clear. This makes no sense. But better we have an alternative than people are still being backholders again. Yeah, just saying. Or we fucking do the bull case. We're doing a 1-part squeeze. The first part squeeze, rest of the year pullback to 2027, or we're doing a 1-part squeeze to all-time highs. Fuck it. Yeah. Still, for timing, I always said I don't want to go into June. This is already June. Yeah. I'm still the opinion going into July. Yeah. And especially going into mid-July without big gaps. Yeah. And with big gaps, I mean, I want to fucking gap over the May peak of 2024. It gets tricky because July always was the time for lower highs. Of course, maybe we're doing something completely different. Yeah. But careful. Right now, AMC looks fucking fire. That's my conclusion for AMC today. It looks fucking fire. The only thing which really fucking start doing something is GME. Or it's the first time that AMC is starting, because 2021, 4 and 5 GME was the first. Maybe this time it is AMC. Or the synchronization is off. Yeah. The synchronization between AMC, CORS, and GME started in 2021. Before that, there was no synchronization. Nobody can prove if the synchronization is still there. Right now, there is no synchronization between AMC and GME. There is none anymore. So maybe it's off the table. Then fuck it. Let AMC run. Whatever GME is doing, who cares? Yeah? Okay. Then little update for BYND. So also here for the overall tracking, I will link again roadmap video at the end. Today we just look what we have done this Thursday, and I can already say it, nothing. Yeah, and it's really shitty. The thing is, we still have this as the last higher low before we go. My main target was still, let's do the extended hours again. The main target for this was still that most likely we have to go under 67 cents. We are talking here about 3%. Yeah, maybe we're doing that in pre-market on Monday. But the thing is, what I don't like right now is this candle here. Yeah, this is so fucking high. Of course, I mean, yeah. If we break downside here, okay, this was T. Yeah, we do this finish move here and go. Okay, still, this candle is too high in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think this is T. Yeah, so in the best possible way, we are not breaking this uptrend. Yeah, whatever we're doing on Monday, we go up. End of story. The only alternative is we break under this trend, we go to 67, and then we go. Important here is just one thing. First, we have, if we're doing this pullback, we have to stay in this channel here. We are not allowed to touch or break 66.08 cents. Otherwise, we're finding a new V. Yeah. And then it's absolutely important not to break under this trend line from December. If you do that, it's fucking bearish. And of course, if you break 57 cents, it's over. Same like GNS's FLNA. This break is killing so many things. This is not 26 anymore, if we do that. I'm still bearish, again, like in the last videos, just because we broke the 786 fib here, which we shouldn't have done. But I always said I give BYND still a chance, that this is just a weird higher low. It's okay. But for levels, again, the downside level we talked about, I would even say, yeah, anything over 73 cents is already bullish. And anything over 84, and we are not talking about bearish alternatives anymore. And if we break 84 cents, I am also not bearish anymore. Yeah? BYYND is always running Mondays and Fridays. Yeah, so let's see what we get on Monday. Toi, toi, toi. One tiny update on FFAI. Here also, for the big update, again, I will link the big update video at the end. For FFAI, it's quite interesting because, again, in 2021, FFAI squeezed with AMC and GME here, January 8 to all-time highs to January 2029. So maybe coincidence, especially because we are close, in my opinion. Still don't like FFAI, but still it looks not bad. This whole thing here from April 7 till today is still our macro higher low. I think it's pretty clear right now that it's the higher low. The only thing is, we had Thursday, for fuck's sake, last trading day, and this higher low is still not finished. Yeah, we need a higher low is always ending in a VNA, always, and our VNA is sitting at 27.47 cents. We already were at 28 cents 53 cents. We were 1 fucking cent away on Thursday to finish this. And we are talking about this little thing here. We only need this. Only this. Yeah, it's 1 cent. Or in percentage, it's 5%. That's nothing for FFAI. Maybe we're doing that on Monday. Or we need the whole next week, whatever. Yeah. But we need to go under this, bounce, and in the worst case, we're doing a higher low again, and then go, or we do this and go. That's the only thing FFAI has to do, and we are finished. If we just bounce here, yeah, if I am wrong, everything over 45 cents, and it should be go time. No financial advice. Of course, for the bearish alternative, anything under 20 cents and it is over. The same thing like GNS, the same thing like FLNR. 20 cents is a no-go. There is no rescue after this. Just saying, if you go under this, this becomes T, you go way lower, and most likely they will reverse the split, go bankrupt, or delist. Yeah. If not, at least reverse split, and then the play is over for everyone who is playing it. So, not going on to under 20 cents. Just saying. Okay, next, silver, because it was already asked for it. So, I think I showed this already months ago. Yeah, tracking is still working perfect. Yeah, I didn't have to change anything. And of course, this is the weekly chart. Yeah, just saying, silver is an old stock, of course. Yeah, this chart is going from 1970 till today. Yeah, and of course, silver won't die. Yeah, just to say that. For this tracking, for the macro tracking, for the big one, yeah, this is macro A, and we are not finished macro B yet. Just to get you a glimpse of the portion of this. And of course, it's not a quick mover, except when it squeezes, but all this taking ages, just saying. For macro position, I would still say that we are right now in the pullback of 1973. And you already see this, what will happen after the pullback and what happens after that. Yeah, silver won't die. Yeah, and it will go to new highs, of course. I mean, okay, that of course also means that money is going down, or whatever currency we get, maybe we get a world currency and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but also like this, this will take ages. Yeah, just saying. For the micro tracking or for the middle tracking, we are right now just in the little b of B, because you have a V, you have an A, little B, you're coming to your peak, to your macro B, and this is your little c. And right now we are in the pullback of little b. And if we look at this pullback, as I said, I didn't have to change anything here. It's still the same. Nothing changed. We got a squeeze, or whatever you call it. This was our top, our little b. We got a lower high, It started here, lower high, ended here. We went up to this trend line again. This was our midpoint. And this midpoint, this M, is not finished yet because when you see, we didn't make a lower low. So this here is easily maybe little m or little t or tiny m, tiny t from this M still. We still have to go to do a lower low than this here. Then you come up to this trend line again. This will be your T. And then you will fall back to the 0.5. 0.5 from where? 0.5 from this low from March 2020. No, sorry. From this low August 2020. The lowest level from our little a. And this level is 45K. And then you have the next chance to bounce and go over all-time highs again. But this will take time to make that really clear. This will take time. What could make it a little bit quicker if we not getting this bounce here and just falling to this. And we have our T in here somewhere. Then it would be quicker. Still, it will take time. But my target is still 45K. Maybe if we're doing something in between the 0.5618, something around 40.38. But I'm not looking for upside for silver still. Yeah? Let's see if I'm right. But this tracking right now is holding since, I don't know, November 2025. Yeah. So let's see. Okay. Because we lost two stocks last week, I looked in my blue list. Yeah, here's my blue list of all tickers which had good tracking, but weren't there yet. Yeah, so I looked up 3 ones. So let's start with ATER. It's a tiny stock. Yeah, especially. They have only 8 million float, so it's really, really a tiny float. What are they doing? Okay, they're doing something with kitchens and home, kitchenware environment, blah, 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 blah. Okay. No options on this stock. And you know me, options, stocks without options can do crazy things. Yeah. 16, 15, 50,000 percenters. Why ever? Manipulation or whatever. And the tracking looks great. Absolutely great. I think we already saw here the IPO started in the macro B with the pullback, ran up to its all-time highs. Then lower high, midpoint, T, V. If we zoom in at this V here, you will also see we have here our all-time low, first micro high low, second micro high low, breakout. Also, we already broke over our macro trend line. Let's clean this up for a second here. Over our macro trend line, which is bullish, and retested this macro trend line. And this here is just small a. To make it clear, here we have our macro T, which is of course at top SE, lower high, midpoint T. We broke over T, which is a perfect little a, but it's just a little a of our macro A. Then we made a breakout retest or a nearly perfect 618 pullback and go. So what should happen next? Your next level, if we doing a little b and then go up to our little c, our little b should be around 343, something like that, maybe a little pullback. But our main target here is still going over our macro T, which is sitting at 6.24. If we need then a 0.618 pullback, we don't know, we only see the pullback of B. But most of the time, if you're doing a B pullback, you also should do an A pullback. But maybe, maybe not. Next target for our B is 85. dollars. Then we will get a 0.5 pullback. I think that's for sure. And then the only question is breaking all-time highs or not. So I can't really tell how quick this thing, because this is so far out. There's not a good way to predict how long this could take. But the thing first of, there are only options, so there's time. We have one split, 1 to 12 reverse split. So it's not that bad. So I think these targets are reachable. And we are sitting at 142. No financial advice, but this stock looks great. So let's see. Next one is TDOC. I mean, it's a health company. I don't like health companies that much, but they have a normal sized float, 180 million, I think only, also no option chain, can do something stupid, no split. So all these numbers here are real, 100%. Only thing before we go into this tracking here is it's not a quick mover in my opinion. Yeah, except you're doing something new, but this is a steady, beautiful uptrend, but it's not something like, yeah, just saying. For the tracking, we already know how our A should look like, kind of without the FIB pullback. We know how our B should look like. There you will get a pullback, and yeah, that's it. In that case, we have our all-time high, our lower high, midpoint, T. And for in the best way, we already got our V, bounced, and we broke over this trend line. And not only that, I would even say we have at least a tiny confirmation, because we already broke here and made a new high. So for the bullish tracking, our next target is over 15. Yeah, I would expect 20-ish, no financial advice. This pullback here is just for drawing, like I always do. I would expect more something like this. Yeah, so something like this, and then we start going to B again. Our next B should be around 18.2, I would say 100-ish. Yeah. Here you will get a pullback, that's for sure. And this will be a 618 pullback from wherever our low here on A is. And then the only question is, are you breaking all-time highs or not? This stock looks no stress. I think no hard feelings, because yeah, there are no really up and downs. It will be just a steady uptrend. Just to have an alternative. Everything under 627, and something is wrong. Yeah, just saying. Anything over 976 is for me pretty good confirmation that we really go up. Yeah? But only shares. Yeah, but sometimes only shares is better, and it's not that expensive. Okay, next one is ARQ. And for ARQ, we have an alternative, but also the ARQ is quite funny. You will see that. It has only a 5 million float, tiny. It is a cloud company, yeah, with AI and whatever, blah, 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 blah. Also, no options. So it can do stupid things, especially if you look at IPO. We had one reverse split, 1 to 25. Is already a little bit high, this reverse split. Just saying. First, the tracking, all-time high, lower high, midpoint, T. For the bullish tracking, V with a little higher low here. This whole thing would be already macro A from here to here. Wonderful 6.8 pullback. Also, in here, we did 2 higher lows here and here, and we broke out. So for the bullish tracking, next level is B, going over M, and that means over 265 from 24. which is already kind of tricky because of this reverse split. But I think at least you should go over A. So over 63 to maybe 100. Or are we doing the whole thing? Just saying, possible. In that case, we could even go maybe vertical. Just saying. Yeah. This pullback here could be just the B pullback. Yeah. So maybe we're doing something stupid. Pullback, top, down. Could be. Yeah. No options is a good sign for something stupid like this. Before we coming to the stupid part, yeah, the ATER for levels, everything over 32 is already bullish. Confirmation would be if we break out of this trend. You will see why I mean that. Absolutely confirmation is over 63. Just saying. For the bearish alternative, which I'll show in a second, I would say anything under 13, 14, yeah, maybe already under 17 is bearish. Yeah, that's bad. Because the thing is, we have a perfect M, but this T is kind of weird, especially because this A is so fucking big. The alternative to this is that this whole thing is just T, and in that you will reject somewhere in here and you will go to a new all-time low, higher low, and then you start over. But the thing with this is that we already saw this tracking one-to-one. Yeah. Where did we see this tracking? In cloth. And I make no jokes here right now. That are two different tickers, two different companies with fucking 90% the same chart. Or I am blind and oversee something, but these are fucking the same charts. Yeah. Only exception that cloth is already in the breakout and ARC is not yet. To make that absolutely clear, yeah, this is not a 100% confirmation that ARC has to do the same thing. Yeah, but I mean, do you see it? And here we also had this weird fucking big A. Same like we have here, this fucking big A. Yeah, but I mean, the similarities are fucking crazy, I would think. Really, fucking crazy. So, maybe. Yeah. Okay, good. And before we end this, we will look at IWM, SPY, and NASDAQ. So we start with SPY. And as I said, most likely we won't see much on Thursday. Well, this was Thursday. So maybe this was already a little confirmation because we still had the chance that we do this. On Thursday, we got a little gap up, gap fill, and going up. So yeah. I still think it's absolutely bullish just because of this broadening wedge is already finished. This whole thing would be just A, the pullback of A, mid gap fill is finished. So for the bullish case, as I said, a fucking green next week. Beautiful run up. The only alternative I have for this, and it would be terrible, is that this was just M. And with terrible, I mean terrible, because in that case, M started here. In that case, you will go down. Whatever news we get, Iran news or whatever, you will go down. You will come up. You will do your T. And then we have our market correction, because if we zoom out, well, our target is 680. If this was M, if you reject here, next target is 680. And oh man, if we don't bounce at 680, if we don't bounce at the broadening wedge here, our old one from January, we have no market correction. We have a market crash if we do that. still don't think that, but as an alternative. So for levers, I would say, first of all, I think if we go over 750, upside. We will break this wedge again and go. We would already have broken it because the tracking would be like this. But anything under 740, no financial advice, but that's the way where you can buy puts every day, in my opinion. Because then, oh man, bad. Still don't think that. Yeah? Especially if we look at NASDAQ. So let's look at NASDAQ. Kinda the same thing. Yeah. Also this was our big A. Also here even better. NASDAQ for me is looking way better. Up, breakout retest of the wedge, perfect gap fill, and massive bounce, same like SPY. We didn't really came close to the 0.5, but NASDAQ likes to say, I am going to the 0.5. No. Yeah, but yeah. But the thing with NASDAQ is we already broke all these things here. So I would really see NASDAQ just going up Monday. Yeah, and all next week. Also here, the alternative, same as SPY. In that case, this was just M. And same thing like SPY, M would have just started here. So NASDAQ, down, up, T. And then our target for NASDAQ is 644. And also here, this would be a market correction. But oh man, if you break under this broadening wedge from January again, we're talking about market crash. Don't think that. I still think we go up, especially with this bounce on Wednesday. I still think it will be a fucking green week, especially if we look at IWM, because IWM already made a new all-time high on Monday. Yeah. I really have to say, personally, it makes for me no sense that we are breaking down. Maybe IWM is going inverse SPY and NASDAQ. I just never saw that. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, we broke out of the wedge. We went a little bit under it. Okay. On Thursday, we broke out again, made the breakout retest and went up. Also for SPY, if we IWM, if we look into it, we already made a higher high here. I still think we go up, especially if we look at the side by side in a second. But this isn't looking bearish. If SPY and NASDAQ, if we need downside, yeah, I think for IWM it's pretty easy. I would say even, yeah, anything under 291, anything under this, and you will go down. Your next level for IWM is 266. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. For IWM, it would be even worse because, of course, you will bounce here too. It would be stupid because this would be just C lower high. We would still have to do an M down T. Then your target is 250. Yeah. Okay. And if you break through here, okay, then market crash. Yeah. I just don't see that. I could be wrong. So, because of the side-by-side tracking, the last thing for today. Just for a small repetition, again, this is just, it looks like tracking. Again, if you're only using this, it will fuck you. For explanation, both charts 24 hours, of course, both charts IWM. Left chart, September 2018 till January 2021. And right side, November 2021 to today. And I think you already see what I mean. Yeah, we have the same formation. Same U here with downfall, same U here with downfall. One-to-one uptrend, one-to-one uptrend. The only difference is that this uptrend didn't broke all-time highs. This uptrend already broke all-time highs. And the only explanation for this is because this was a higher low and this was a lower low. Yeah? Good. What we are looking right now is this section compared to this section. So let's zoom in. So for the zoomed in version, on the left side, we have 1 hour. On the right side, we have 10 minutes. And also here, this is pretty self-explained. This peak, this low, this peak, this low, and so on and so on. Earlier, I was a little bit too quick and I already saw us here. Yeah. But the thing is, with this down pullback here, that's not possible. Yeah. So to do this in any kind, if we have to, if we want still to make this work, yeah, this gap is the Trump tweet with P still, yeah, and this pullback, which if you look, came quite in the middle of this gap fill, but didn't gap fill, yeah, would be the same thing what we did on Wednesday. Because also here, we came in the middle of this volatility rank. And then we got a massive bounce. The only question right now is, did we already do this pullback here or not? That's the only question. I could see a way that this was already the pullback and we are already in the run. Just saying, in this gap fill run. Because you see, you're already over this little peak here. Could be. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah. As I said, I don't like this. It looks like tracking because it has sometimes its importance. Sometimes you just can't oversee it, especially for AMC, for example. Most of the time, it's tricky. But the thing is, if this is working, we would still expect for next week something like this, or even something like this. What we are waiting for is especially this, because this was an 8% jump gap. Yeah. And as you already see, we are way bigger than back then. So maybe we're doing a bigger jump than 80%. That would be crazy. Yeah. What I still have to say, I mean, levels wise, I would even, again, could be wrong, but levels wise, it makes more sense to be in here. And this was already our jump. Let's see. Yeah. If we gap 8, 10, 20% on Monday, we know. But still looks good. But even without this, it looks like tracking. IWM, SPY, NASDAQ looks still fine. Let's see if I'm sitting on Monday or Tuesday here and say, okay, market crash. Let's see. Okay. As always, explanation video tutorial here. Playlist here. The big roadmap update video back here. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to see more, leave an abo. And well, toi for Monday. Have a nice weekend. We see us.